What's going on there, everyone? Well, I just got done watching the Rashida Tlaib and Elon Omar presser about them being denied access to Israel, even though Israel did capitulate to Tlaib on humanitarian grounds to see her family, and she refused because she said she doesn't want to go because of being oppressed in silence. No, they just don't want you to sit there and cause problems. She obviously doesn't really care about the history of the Palestinian and Jewish conflicts that happen in that area all the time. No, because she doesn't care about anything about Israel. She only cares about the Palestinians. Doesn't matter all the suffering that the Israelis have to go through when the Palestinians are lobbing mortars and attacking all the time. Doesn't seem to cross her mind at all. But I find it funny some of the things that she specifically has said. Uh, just to point out some inconsistencies, uh, she said her and her mother used to visit her grandmother all the time, this, that, and the other. Well, her grandmother on TV said that her mother would visit her all the time, but she wouldn't allow Rashida to visit. So really, Rashida wasn't visiting with her mother all the time to go see her grandmother because her mother wouldn't allow it. So that's a lie, at least according to her grandmother. Another thing is she wanted to bring up how 70 about 70 other Congress people were allowed to visit without stipulations and all this. Well, here's a good reason why, Miss Tlaib, you imbecile. The other members of Congress aren't openly calling for the destruction of Israel. They're not sitting here calling Israel, uh, likening them to the Nazi Party. You know? Think about it. The whole BDS movement you're fully for and fully behind, yeah, it's only like you and a tiny little handful of others. And guess what? I'm pretty sure none of them would be invited either. What are these people thinking? And then she goes on to start crying and telling a sad sob story, you know, which is typical leftist maneuvering. Let's stop with the facts because the facts don't quite line up right. You know, you're trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. It doesn't work out that well. So let's go on to feelings. Let me do the emotional plea because that'll get leftists riled up. We know this. I mean, that's a fact. The left loves feelings, unless they're like conservative feelings and stuff like that. Then feelings don't matter to them at all. But their own feelings are way more important than actual factual information. Come on, man. And then not only that, she's just playing to all the stereotypical leftisms, all of them. And then she goes on to talk about her childhood in Detroit and how she was all of her black teachers, this, that, and the other. And the reason why I say that is because she had to bring up race involved. She had to constantly bring up race. She could have just said teachers, you know, because race doesn't really matter. But she's pandering. That's what they do. They pander. And I wish I could tell you more about Omar, but I just have such a hard time listening to her. Uh, that whole way of speaking where she's la 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 la. She goes up. Oh, it just drives me crazy. I can't listen to it. So I don't. I mean, I did try. I'll say that. I tried and then I just found myself going crazy and turned it off because she just speaks nonsense. Well, they both pretty much are speaking nonsense. But come on. Come on. People on the left, leftist. Do you see this? Do you see what's happening? Do you see the like just ridiculousness of the whole thing? They're upset because they constantly talk badly about Israel and Jewish people and wonder why they're not allowed in Israel. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. She points out that so many people are allowed to go there. Yeah, they are. Because they don't actively protest Israel and talk evilly about them. Come on. It's just mind-blowing. This whole situation has been mind-blowing. They're sitting here constantly talking trash about Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump and this, that, and the other about this situation. They did exactly what they should have. You know, Trump really didn't, I don't think he had to say too much about it. But, you know, he's not going to be silenced by anybody. He's going to say exactly what he feels at that moment. And he's going to tweet it out. Which it's hit and miss, you know. Some of his tweets are hit and miss with me, but that's me personally. That doesn't matter. I'm still supporting him. He's the guy for 2020. But, yeah, it's just crazy. I think we should all be able to see through the nonsense and just condemn these women. I mean, we need to vote them out. They are not good for our country. They are not good ambassadors for sure. For sure. But there's another reason why I think they chose... see, because if you notice, Omar was relatively quiet about the whole situation when she got denied. She was, okay. I get that. She got that. She kind of understood why. So she didn't make too much of a fuss. But Rashida Tlaib, on the other hand, has been all kinds of crazily vocal about it because she felt she had this sob story in her back pocket with her grandma. But that all backfired when Israel said, oh no, on humanitarian grounds, as long as you don't, you know, talk bad about us while you're here, and she couldn't even do that. The one stipulation they put on her and she couldn't even do that. That's pretty pathetic and sad. That's pretty pathetic and sad. But these are the exact type of people who should not be in office. They make America look bad. You think the rest of the world doesn't talk about these two? Or the squad in general? Oh yeah. They talk about them. And they make fun of them. Constantly. Because they're ridiculous. Their views, their opinions, everything is ridiculous. And they are members of the government. We got to get these people out through voting. That's the only way to get them out. There should be more ways. I truly believe there should be easier ways to get these people out of office, especially when they constantly are doing something like this, causing these little stunts by completely belittling and trying to destroy an ally. And it's funny, the word ally, they love to throw that around. This is supposed to be our ally, but yet they won't let us come. Of course. Because you're not their ally. You don't even believe they have a right to exist. You constantly call that area Palestine. There is no Palestine. Get that through your numbskull. Come on. And fellow Americans, call these people out. Call them out. Call out people who support these people. Because they support ignorance, racism, bigotry, anti-Semitism, anti-Americanism. You name it. If it's negative, they'll probably support it. It's crazy. These women are crazy. If you didn't get a chance to see it, you're lucky. You're lucky, because I'll never get those 15 minutes back. But I tell you what, these are the people that the Democratic Party props up. It's a sad day for the Democratic Party. It's a sad day for our nation as a whole. To have to be dealing with members of Congress like this. Sorry, this was just a rant, but I just felt like making the video. As always, like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you on the flip side.